everyone. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. I always say that every week. We actually mean it. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate that you watched this program. Talking a little sports for the next half hour. Tariq, how you doing?
Pretty good. You can hate Houston Astros all you want, but guess who's the champs?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that a little later. Pat, one of your favorites, right? You like the Buffalo head.
The return of the goat head this week in Buffalo, right? The New Jerseys look great, and my favorite player from the Sabres 99 Cup run, Jeff Sanderson.
Things are going well for that team, aren't they?
Oh, they were up until the last 3 games, so let's not talk about that. That hurts my feelings.
We'll put that on the back burner and talk about, boy, hasn't the world changed since the last time we got together and did this program.
Sure did.
The AFC East, all of a sudden, there's not a losing record in it. My theory going into this whole football season was that was the weakest division, which would pave the way for Buffalo to have a home playoff game, perhaps the top seed, the whole bit. Boy, it hasn't worked out that way.
No, it hasn't. It's the toughest division in football, basically. There's no
That's the only one with 4 winning teams.
And what's bizarre about it is everybody says that the Bills are the number 1 team in the AFC, and they've lost twice in their own division, which is something we'll bring up later with the Bills. And now have concerns. Well, we'll talk about their quarterback situation later on, but it's interesting to me. It's like the Bills take the 1 spot. Then this week, the first week of the year, the Dolphins were the team everybody was afraid of. Now it's turned into the Jets are the team everybody's kind of afraid of. And so it's like it's a revolving door of success.
And it has, because 2 weeks prior it was the Jets, then they lost, and forget about them, and then they beat Buffalo, and they're back.
Back in it again.
And there's New England sitting last place, but 5-4 somehow.
Okay, and New England, that's a false 5-4, and anybody that's watched the Patriots play, no, it's a false 5-4. Look, I don't know what to make.
Would you bet on Buffalo beating them twice this year?
New England? Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would. And I mean, look.
But he hesitated, though. Did you
no, we thought about it. I appreciate the consideration.
Do I seem like a man who just shoots his mouth off without thinking? No, I mean, it's not out of the...
We're considering it.
With the success the Bills have had the last couple of years, it was just a matter of time before they started figuring it out. I think Miami has legitimately figured it out. Not to the point where they're a threat for the division, but they have a good team moving forward. The Jets... I don't think the Jets are as good as everybody thinks the Jets are. I get the same Jets from the vibe from the Jets as I got from the Patriots when they went on that 7-game streak, where if you start breaking down game by game, you start seeing, oh, you caught a break here, oh, you caught a break here, oh, this guy was out, oh, everything worked this way. I think when the season comes to an end, you're going to see New England and New York fall to the bottom of the division, Miami middling, making the playoffs, and Buffalo where Buffalo's.
But what's interesting about this is that every single team needs to win. So you look at, say, for example, Buffalo, you still think that they're a class team. They're going to perform well. They're going to possibly make the playoffs. But then you look at the Jets, I'm like, okay, maybe they can put a string together, wins together. The Patriots aren't totally buried yet. Miami, everybody wants to rank them the 3rd best team in the AFC. I think that's too high. So this might be a division that beats itself up all the way up to the playoffs, and no one wants to play in the AFC.
You know, after this week, New England's got to bye, and then they play the Jets, which all of a sudden the Jets-Patriots game looks like, that's a consequential contest.
But you go back to the point I just made. If you watch that Jets-Patriots game initially, there's a play right before halftime. It's 10-3. The Jets pick up a pick 6. It's 17-3 going into halftime, and a very questionable roughing the passer call completely changes that game. That's what I mean. Like with both of those teams, you have a play or two in every game along the way that completely changes the narrative of their whole season so far.
All right, the elephant in the room. The Josh Allen situation, as we record the show, it's still nothing official has been said.
To be determined. I actually think some political races have wrapped up before we find out whether or not Josh Allen is going to play on Sunday.
You mean by the playoffs?
Yeah. I don't even know. I'm concerned a bit about it. This is going to be very in it. Case Keenum is a very capable quarterback. I think he'll be able to come into the game and be able to produce some sort of an effort, but you're taking on a Minnesota Viking team nobody thought would be 7-1 this year.
Well, nobody thought they'd be 7-1 because nobody thought their schedule would play out the way that it did. They don't have a single quality win, but I'll get more into that in a second.
Doesn't matter when you're 7-1.
Look, the line has moved 4 points in 2 days. That does not bode well for Josh Allen playing for the rest of the week. I haven't looked lately. They also took off the Bills AFC Championship odds off the board in a lot of sports books, which would tell you the injury might be long-term. But again, we don't know anything right now.
So it's so puzzling. And I know we can't be doctors and analyze it, but there was that pass after he got, first of all, the hit on the elbow. It's like the elbows aren't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
And then he throws the ball 60 yards downfield.
It was 70, and it was the longest pass through the air in the NFL this season.
you didn't lose that many weapons. We'll talk Bills coming up.
You brought Case Keenum up.
You didn't lose a lot of weapons, and that's why I think Case Keenum might be a little bit better than people thought if he's got to play 2 to 3 weeks.
Now we like him. Because we need to like him. Now we like him.
Everybody likes the backup quarterback. Backup quarterbacks are pretty good. Listen, you put it all on Allen, this is what you guys get.
But the division's a race now. That's the point.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. This is fun. It's like being a kid again, right? Patriots and Dolphins, Jets and Dolphins are somewhere in there threatening to do something.
This is the Rochester Press Box, and we're talking Buffalo Bills next. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. Our Buffalo Bills segment is brought to you by Ralph Honda. For 3 generations and celebrating 50 years as New York's first and oldest Honda dealer. Visit Ralph Honda today. Find out how we do Honda right at ralphhonda.com. So when we go to break, and under this, please be okay. Please be okay.
I think it was a little more high pitched. Please be okay. Josh. Please, our sweet, sweet boy, please be okay. Yeah, I mean... Look, what do you do without him? Case Keenum, he may go out and perform admirably. In fact, this week against Minnesota, if there's one game Case Keenum has to start, I want it to be a revenge game against a team that he took to the NFC Championship and they told him to go take a crap in a hat, right? But no, this team is not even close to what this team is going to be without Josh Allen. I think you can't know how Case Keenum is going to perform because even in the preseason, you're playing against base defenses with the second team most of the time. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to feel. My hair's falling out. No, but here's the thing. There are, as Tariq kind of touched on a second ago, there are so many weapons on that Bills team, it's possible that Case Keenum goes out and performs well. And the team uses this as a rallying point, but I don't know what to think, man.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so. I'm concerned about how much he does on the field at every single possession. I know he's the quarterback. It's great. Now, I wish the best of returns for Josh Allen. Let me first say that because I don't think that kid really deserves to be out. Whether or not he plays, we don't know whether or not he's going to play yet because they haven't made that determination as we're recording this right now. But that being said, let me just tell you this. Case Keenum is a quarterback. He is capable. I think he'll be fine. I think if you keep this game tight, like you guys have been able to do, your defense comes out strong, which it's going to need to do. Had you got the running back I told you to get for the last 2 years, then you would be in more balanced offense and be able to carry it. Now you're hoping Case Keenum, if he plays on Sunday, has an all-star game caliber moment and revenge game to win this week where you don't want to go 2 losses in a row.
I love your general manager skills. Hey, let's get a great quarterback and a great running game.
I didn't say great.
Why doesn't great? NFL, every other team do that.
I didn't say great. I said anybody who can run the ball 5 yards.
You know what else you should do? We should go get 2 guys on each of the ends on the defense to get 19 sacks a year. Like, this is so easy. I wish someone would have talked to Tariq before the season started.
Yeah, they did. And then he said 2 years ago, get a quality running back. You don't need a great one. You just need somebody who can rush the ball when Allen gets hurt or can take some pressure off of Allen.
They've taken a running back in the top 3 rounds, the last 3 drafts.
And they don't work out. Keep drafting them.
But you get 1 draft a year, Tariq.
Wouldn't you like Matt Breida back right now?
No. Wow. Why would I want Matt Breida?
Never mind.
Just put a little bit of a
just
positive
clone Josh Allen and have him run the ball.
A little bit of a positive thing is in some very poor. Is this an opportunity? The rest of this team is supposed to be good. You mentioned Case Keenum, and history tells us that backup quarterbacks on a short-term basis can come in and succeed. You have to use him 3-4 weeks is a different story. But 1 week against a team he wants to play against, it's not a conference game, it's not a division game, that this is an opportunity for the rest of the team to stand up and show what they can do.
You're absolutely right. If you heard the comments inside the dressing room after what happened on Sunday, they want to do this for Josh, right? Like, this is, you're right, the perfect opportunity to go straight. You brought up 3-4 games. Heck, if for some reason Josh has to miss 3 games, this is the stretch you want him to miss. You have Minnesota, you have Cleveland at home, and then you're going to Detroit on Thanksgiving. Like, 2 NFC games and a winnable AFC game with a backup quarterback. I don't like what is happening here, but if it had to happen, I'm glad it's happening right now.
If Minnesota is primed for a bit of a letdown, especially last week when you saw Kirk Cousins basically with a chain and his shirt off dancing on the plane on the way home. So listen, there is a chance Buffalo will be in this game whether Allen plays or not.
To the point, so the line drops to 4.5.
Right now, yeah.
And I don't know that anybody legitimately is taking bets on this game until something official comes out on Josh Allen. And we should also remind people that as we record this, we don't know. So he may be in there. He may have a great game.
Sure. Without Josh, I still like him at 4.5. The Vikings, if you go back and look at their 7-1 schedule, they do not have a quality win. They do not have a single quality win. The best one is them beating a two-less Dolphins team.
And a lot of single score wins.
That's why I said keep that game as close as possible. You could sneak that out. They have a lot of just sneak out wins in their 7-1 schedule. So they're beatable. They're very much beatable.
So it's so funny because if you look at this, so they're huge favorites against a 7-1 team coming in. Green Bay had never been a double-digit underdog in Aaron Rodgers' career, and Pat Mahomes had never been an underdog at home. All of this stuff pouring into Buffalo, and now this is the moment of truth.
You forgot, first time in franchise history, the Steelers were 2-touchdown underdogs coming to Buffalo that week too.
Wow, again, how quickly things can change. This is the Rochester Press Box. Buffalo Bills segment brought to you by Ralph Honda. Like it or not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Again, Mike O'Brien, your getaway guy, looking for the perfect family getaway? I found this one in North Tonawanda, Buffalo. It's the perfect hidden gem. I'll take you here. Search for the Getaway Guy on Facebook.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390. Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here in the Rochester Press Box. Our Like It or Not segment brought to you by Sport Clips, where the MVP experience is better than ever. Sport Clips, the pros in men's hairstyling. No appointment needed. Stop by a Rochester location today. Like it or not, I go to you because we really love to do Mets with you.
Yeah.
So 3/4 of your starting rotation just declared free agency.
Yeah, well, listen, you know what? DeGrom, I'm not sure if he still wants to be a Met. I think he wants to be a Met for the right price. I'm not sure if he might be worth that thing. He's not very durable. And you've got Max Scherzer, who will probably be your number one if he leaves. Taijuan Walker, I mean, I don't see him staying. I don't think the Mets would pony up the money for him.
And Chris Bassett.
I don't know about Bassett either. This is going to be very interesting. I think you put the money you would have given Taijuan Walker and Bassett into DeGrom. You keep him there if you can get him, but if you can't, you're shopping for a pitcher, and there are not a lot of pitchers.
Feeling? I mean, you've been watching him a lot. Is DeGrom capable of staying healthy for a whole season?
Yeah, the last few years I've watched him pitch. So
you wouldn't be chasing after Bassett? You wouldn't be a Bassett hound.
Nah.
Come on, guys.
No.
Bassett hound.
Like it, World Series champs, the Houston Astros.
No, I don't like it. This is awful. What? What do you mean, what?
What do you mean it's awful?
It's awful.
That the bad guys won? Come on, don't we love a good villain?
No,
you're wearing black.
We like a good villain up until the point where they lose in the end. That's why they're the villain. Show me a movie where the villain wins. It's like, oh, that was a really good movie that made me feel good about myself. Look, if there's one person I'm happy for, it's Dusty Baker. The job he's been able to do the last couple of years is really amazing. He's deserved a World Series championship along the way several places. Good for him. Remove Dusty Baker from the situation? No, screw the whole thing, man. You never faced a legitimate punishment after what happened 6 years ago.
That's not their fault. That's not their fault. If they committed the act, if Major League Baseball punished them, what am I supposed to say? If sorry guys, I don't think that's a harsh enough punishment.
Well, it doesn't mean that you have to be happy for the team when they win.
Yeah, but it's like saying a guy murdered somebody, he got a light sentence. It's not his fault. He didn't. Yeah, sure he murdered him.
It's the court's
Sure he murdered him, but he's free now. So let's go get some ice cream.
So you're on board with this?
I'm good with it because it brings a little juice to it. They're hated by everybody. Don't get me wrong. So the Phillies had a chance to do it. The Yankees had a chance to do it. All the teams that they faced all had a chance to do it. I'm sorry, you didn't. They ponied up. They've got good young pitching, good bats. They combined it together. They don't need to go in and get anybody in free agency. Dusty Baker's happy for him. What, you're going to be happy for Dusty and mad that the team won? You can't have it both ways.
Why do we love Dusty Baker?
I think Dusty Baker is a weird combination of the old school baseball warmth with new school ideas. Like, he's never had a problem saying what he had to say, but he was never rude about it. I don't know. What do you think?
I think the real simple answer is young players love him. And I think there's this sort of age gap where there's a lot of people that don't like older people. He loves baseball. They love him. They play for him. They play hard for him. It's a loving relationship. It's very interesting. People don't seem to understand the connection that you have when it's a young bunch of guys, and it's a different manager than from the scandal. So there's a little purity to it, and you root for him.
What he said about Dusty Baker is what I was trying to say, but he said it way better.
He also repaired a lot of the damage I think that Tony La Russa did for senior citizens trying to manage in the big leagues.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the Mets now. I mean, we were terrible before. Buck Showalter, older guy. They love that guy. It's working. So think older.
Also, I saw power rankings, by the way, preseason power rankings of baseball already. Mets number 5.
Yeah, that's great.
Right?
Get your hopes up, man. That's a good idea, right?
That's not what we do, Bills fans, right?
Our Like It or Not segment brought to you by Sport Clips. Unfinished Business is next.
Get your hopes up.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one. Score!
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box, our Unfinished Business segment. Brought to you by the Genesee Brew House, your beer destination since 2012. Visit the gift shop, enjoy a tasting at our pilot brewery, and at the pub-style restaurant at the Genesee Brew House. Thank you, guys. Unfinished Business. Start us off, Pat.
College basketball season is starting, which is an interesting situation in upstate and central New York because Syracuse football is having one of the most shocking seasons they've had in their history. Yeah, they lost a couple of games, but they're still nationally ranked as we tape this at 20 right now. Dino Babers having a renaissance as a coach, and there's something to cheer for athletics-wise at Syracuse other than lacrosse. The basketball season may not go as well, and you could have, and think about this, for the first time in a long time, a season where the football team outperforms the basketball team. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing at any other program. It's a bad thing at Syracuse. Nobody expects Syracuse football to do much, and it's really great that they're doing what they're doing right now. But with the way Boeheim has been coaching the last couple of years, the problems they've been having with recruiting, the way that the blame always seems to get shifted away from the folks that are actually should be taking the blame, I don't think Syracuse football is good for Syracuse athletics this season if basketball doesn't do something amazing.
This is nothing against Jeff Saturday or the owner of the Colts, but he is the brand new interim head coach. Now, you would think that makes perfect sense. He's an ex-player. They love them there. He would be great maybe as a GM. No, he's the head coach. And no, he wasn't coaching at any point during the season. He's just coming in the middle of the season to coach the Indianapolis Colts. Mind you, the fact that they already have previous coaches who were head coaches in the NFL already on the staff in John Fox and Gus Bradley. Now, I guess you can overlook the Rooney Rule. I guess you can overlook the quality and the people that you have on your own staff to bring somebody in. But the results will be for the Colts, whatever the results are going to be. Seems like they're tanking. Sounds like they're tanking. But I give a lot of credit to the coaches that haven't quit yet on the Colts because they have a commitment to the team. I don't know what it's like to have somebody come in when you know you've been a head coach before, they haven't been, and now they're the head coach. I hope they're willing to help. But if they hurt, that's a total rebuild for the Colts.
To Tariq's point, this is Sean McDermott's professional coaching resume. McDermott was an assistant to the head coach, quality control coach, secondary coach, linebackers coach, defensive coordinator in Philadelphia under the great Andy Reid. Then spent 6 more years as a defensive coordinator at Carolina. 7 jobs over 22 years prior to becoming the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. Last week, Jeff Saturday became the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts with no professional experience stretched out over 0 years. He never say it, but do you think that maybe McDermott harbors some resentment over that hire? You're gosh darn right he does, and he should. Saturday's hire, no matter how great a guy everyone seems to think he is an insult to anyone who ever took a coaching position seriously. It is hard. It might be the hardest thing out there. My God, what is wrong with people? What was wrong with the New York Mets when they signed Tim Tebow to play minor league baseball in Binghamton and Syracuse for 2 seasons, which felt more like 5? He hadn't played since high school. Tebow's the worst player in the International League in 2019. He batted .163 while being platooned, showcased for his marketing value. It was so bad that the other teams in the IL, like the Rochester Red Wings, were prohibited from naming Tebow as the strikeout player of the game. No tacos on Tebow's tab. In 1977, the Atlanta Braves had lost 16 straight baseball games, so owner Ted Turner fired his manager and replaced him with Ted Turner. That lasted one game. The National League ordered him off the field and retired with an 0-1 record. If these things weren't true, you wouldn't believe them. Where's Ted Lasso when you really need him? His story isn't really that far-fetched. That's our Unfinished Business, brought to you by the Genesee Brewhouse, and that is our program. Thank you, guys.
Tim Tebow note, that is the only game my mother-in-law wanted to go see is when he came into Rochester.
Oh, yeah. Have you seen him in those pants?
Oh,
come on, man.
Jeez, I thought I'd never hear that line again.
What?
Again.
He looked great in those pants.
All righty. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back again next week, presumably, on the Rochester Press Box.
Pray for me.